Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning everyone. How are you? So hopefully you're still going great day today. Okay, I'm gonna continue our lesson today, which is on the previous lesson on the new topic, which is on the array. And in the meantime, we try to discuss about maybe regarding your test on this coming this coming Friday. And hopefully all the things that I want to share today will help you to understand the question as well on the how you can answer the question for the test later on, right? So but before that, we just continue on the array part 2, which means that how we can uh, how we can append or add new elements in the array. Okay, so this is the first part that I want to cover for this morning, and the second one is about how we can split a string type into an array. Okay, let's say for example we have a string of if you still remember your previous lessons regarding a string by using the dot split, okay, dot split functions in order to split a string into an individual elements. Okay, so dot split by using the comma delimiters here is one of the examples that we can split a string. Let's say we have a 10 comma 10 comma and then 2 here, for example. I give one example that reflects to the pen here is the name of the item, okay, and followed by the comma separator. Okay, after the comma, first comma separator, here we have some value 10, and 10 here regarding the price of the we can say that the quantity of the pen, and each pen is the price is 2 ringgit, for example. Just assume that this is the data that we have in the text file, right? Okay, and then we can use this dot split in order to indicate the pen will become the first element. Okay, 10 will become the second element, 2 will become the third element. And you need to remember that this is the string. Whenever we are splitting the string here, the elements inside the array is still a string as well. For example, this will become like this one. Okay, this will become like this. Let's make sure like this one. Pen, the first element, comma. Okay, string of 10, comma, and then a string of 2. So this is how the representation of the list. Okay, if we are splitting down the string, one string, okay, into an individual of elements that consists of first element is string, second element is string, and the third element is string. You need to make sure that if you want to do some computational calculation that reflects to the numbers here, make sure that you need to convert the string into a specific data type, either integer or the float. Okay, so don't worry regarding the pen here, because the pen here is considered as a string. You don't need to convert to anything, because if you convert into the integer or float for the string, you will get some error because pen doesn't have any meanings for the calculations, right? So, and the third one here, I will show you how to read data from the text file. Okay. Okay, and then we do some split functions, and then we do some calculations, and also together with the array. So this one is very important. Okay, right. So we move on the first one here, that how we can append or add a new element in the array. Okay, assume that we have some of data. I want to create a new text file, a new Python file here. And just name it what is array and element. Okay, so assume that we have numbers of elements that I call it this array. We call it the array. Okay, if you follow any exercises or any notes in the books or internet, they consist of the square bracket, and this one we consider as a list, or we can call it as an array. Okay, a sequence of elements. Let's say here, put here rambutan, and then put here apple, and put another one here, anggur, and let's put last one here. Okay, right. So this is a array declarations. Okay, we have 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4. Rambutan, apple, anggur, and also nangka here. And then if you want to display all the elements for this array, you put here print and then fruits, right? Okay, and you run the program, you can see that all the elements for this array will be displayed in the command prompt here, right? Okay, so normally we use the print and fruits for the array here. You want to make sure that there is an element inside, okay, for debugging purpose. Some cases we need to frequently use this kind of technique, print and so on, okay, because I want to show you, we want to add a new elements, we want to add a new fruit in this fruits array, okay, and then we want to display either the what you call the new elements is added in the current array, right? Okay, so how we can use how we can add a new element is very straightforward, okay, by using a fruit. If fruit is the name of your array, dot, okay, is dot, there is one function that we call as the append, okay, it's append. So inside this parenthesis here is the value that you want to insert in the current elements of the fruits. Okay, you want to append. What is the meaning of append here? We want to add a new element right after the last element of the array. So right now we have nangka is the last element. It will be added right after this one here. Okay, so what is the element? You can put here anything. Okay, since I want to put here the fruits, of course I want to put here the name of the fruit. What else? Let's say jambu. Okay, this one, right? So you run the program. Okay, it doesn't have anything because this output represent the codes in the line number 3. Okay, so what you need to do is that you need to print out the output right after you append the new elements. Run the program again. You can see that okay, this is the first output before we add a new element, and this one is the new elements. This jambu is the new element. We print out the new element from this array, and you can see that jambu will be added right after the last element, which is nangka here. So how many elements you got here? Before it is 4, and right now it will become 5. So if you still remember how you can count the number of elements by using the len, and then you put here the fruits, it will be the array, okay? And then if you want to display the output of this number of elements inside here by using the print function, right? Okay, so just to remember that normally we're going to use this print and display all the things inside here is purposely for debugging, and purposely want to make sure that there's no error. We want to make sure that there are certain cases that we are using this kind of technique, right? Okay, so 4 element is 5 elements. Okay, if you notice, I will frequently use the len here because of what? Because we're gonna use the for loops in order to display all the elements one by one. Okay, so but in line number 3 and also line number 7 here indicates we are display a list of it's a list. Okay, it's not we are display, or we don't, what we call, print all elements one by one here. Okay, so print fruits, we print all the list. Okay, it's not one by one, it's one list here. But if you're gonna use one by one, you're gonna use the for loops. Okay, you're gonna use for loop like this one. For fruit in fruit. All right. Okay. Carefully regarding the naming of the variable here. So fruits here indicates my array. Fruit here indicates my individual array that represent this one of later on. Okay, so you can put like this one, print fruit. Okay, fruit without any s here. If I run the program, you can see that I'm printing all the fruit one by one by using the for loops here. So the Python will know that fruits here, okay, will contain the 5 elements. Okay, the 5 elements. So in order to print out all the elements, so the Python will know that. So what is the first one? 1, 2, 3. And also the 4 here, we have a 0, 1, 2, 3. By using this one, we call it indexing. Indexing. Okay. So instead of by using this technique, you can use another one here that we call as by using the indexing. Okay, for example, for I in the length of your array. Okay, the length of the array, and the length here that consider as what we call 5. Okay, it's a 5. Okay, so since we're gonna use range of 5 here, so that's why we're gonna have range here. Okay, so length fruits, this one, okay, will return a number, okay, of 5, and 5 will be put inside the parentheses of the range. If you still remember, this is how we can use that return of 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, and also 4 here, right? So 5 minus 1, the last one will be 4. Okay, so you can print out the output by using this one. Since we are display all the element for the fruits here by using the indexing. Okay, so indexing, so you're gonna use fruits. Okay, followed by the indexing, which index is starting from the array index, and we're gonna use indexing I that represents 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, it's look like this one. This will become fruit index 0. All right. Fruits index 1, fruits index 2, and so on. Okay. So if we run the program, you can see that the same output as the above here. So either gonna use line number 10 until 11 or 13 until 14 is up to you. But there are certain cases we're gonna use this technique. All right. And there are certain cases very short way we're gonna use this one. Okay. What I mean is that if you have only one array and then you want to access all the element in one array only, is suitable by using this technique. Line number 10, also line number 11. But if you're accessing multiple of array at the same time that consists of the same size, let's say we have example yesterday, and students, we have a student here, right? And then this one is a student ID A101. I just want to make it short. A102, and then we have another array that consists of marks here, and the size of the arrays is the same as the size of the student here. This one is 2, this one also must be 2. Let's say this one is 100, this one is 180. Okay, all right. So there is a purpose by using the length here, because we're gonna see this one is the length. Length is 2. Sorry. This one is length is 2. This one also length is 2. Alright. If you're gonna use the for here, since this one is number of iterations is 2 and this one is 2 as well, so that's why we're gonna use the length here as supposedly is 2, right? So you can use either one, either student or marks here because both of it consist of the same size. Okay, so what it means that you can use either students to count the number of elements, or you can use the marks to count the number of elements for it. Okay, but it will return the same size of it, right? So if you want to access the student's ID here, just change your student ID and we try to run the program and you can see that 101 and so 102 for both of the students' ID, right? Okay, so you're gonna use this kind of the technique here because you don't have any some kind of the indexing that represents 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. But this one, this technique represent directly the elements. It will be rambutan, apple, mango, and also nangka. It's not represent 101, but this technique is very suitable way for it. Okay, I would like to suggest you most of the time by using this technique, which means that okay, for the line 16, also line 17 here, right? Okay. Okay, I want to move on for the second part here, which means that on the how we can split the string type into array by using the split and represent the string here into individual array, right? All right, okay. I think this one we just repeat again, and I want to make sure that you understand regarding the dot split functions here together with the delimiter. All right, okay. So in order to use this one, you might make sure that you have some kind of data like a string here. Okay. So I want to close this one. So I want to keep this one as your reference later. So I want to create a new file here that represent for the array with string. Okay, right. Okay. So this one we want to how we can split the string into this one. Okay, into this one. Right. Okay. If you have anything to ask me, just let me know, right? Okay. So assume that you have a string, and then I'm calling the name of the string variables here is data, and represent this one is pen. I have a comma here, and then with 10, comma, and then I have a number of quantity, the way 2. Okay, maybe 1.5. That represent this one as item, and then quantity, comma, and then the price of it. So instead, if you want to do some calculations, 10 multiplied by 1.5 is equal later on if you get 10.5 ringgit. Okay, the price here in terms of the ringgit RM. Okay, so how we can represent this one into the array? So right now we want to make sure that the string that we have here, string that represent the string consists of consistent format using comma. Again, using comma here, this one. If you can see from the sample, the variable name we have append, comma, 10, comma, 1.5. And then if you have another data, then maybe has a comma here, and then we have maybe 20 that represent the other things, right? But the thing is that if you want to do this one, make sure that the string, you have a consistent format for it by using the comma. It can be done by using maybe about dots, or you can use a dash, something like that. But it depends how you present the data in the code, or you present data in the text file. But just to make sure you understand, most of the time you're going to use the comma because it can be viewed in the Excel file, since it will represent CSV, that stands for comma separated value. Okay, so we're going to use data dot split, and how you can split the data is that is you need to put it this one, okay, comma and so on, right? If you don't put like this one, meaning that indicates default split by empty space, okay, empty space. So meaning that pen comma will become a new element. Since we have a space here, 10 comma is the second element, including the comma will become the element as well. But we don't want this comma in the element because later on we're going to use some kind of the calculations again convert it into the specific type. 10 comma is not represent anything, okay, but 10 is represent into numerical. That's why you need to specify the delimiter, okay, delimiter. This one we call as a delimiter, okay. So and then data the split, and then you need to represent this one into maybe data. Just name it like this one to make sure that you understand. And I run the program. Will does not represent any output because we don't have anything here, right? So let's say I want to print out data. Okay, print out data. We run the program and we can see that 10, 10, 1.5. Okay, if you remember this one is represented as the type string. Okay, if you're not sure regarding of this data type data, you can use this when you print, and then you type here type and the name of the variable. Okay, you can see that in the command prompt here. Okay, so this depend comma 10 comma 1.5 here is belong one string. Is belong to one string. Okay, if you reflect again in our topic yesterday and today is about array, right? We're gonna split this one into an individual elements of array, okay, by using the split functions. Okay, so right now you want to make sure that what is data type for data split here. Just I want to copy here print type data right into this one and change the variable name from data to data split with a new one. Okay, I run the program. You can see that okay, data split here right now is not belongs to the string anymore, but is converted into the a list. And if you still remember list here, we consider list or array. I can call it collections of different data types. Okay, can be anything here. Okay, this one is a good example that represent collections of different data type. Okay, first thing here, this string, all the thing is this string, and then we convert it into the a list here that consists all the element inside of data splits is also string as well. Okay, later we're gonna see what are the what we call the data type for each of this one. Okay, so right now data split here actually is that represent like this one. It will represent square bracket and okay, first element and the third element 1.5 here. This is we call this one is split together. It's split by using the comma separated here, pen, 10, and 1.5. Okay, hopefully you understand regarding what is the purpose of this one, and you know what is the purpose of dot split by using the comma separated, and you can predict the output of the list right after by using dot split here. Okay, you're gonna see for the first element here. Okay, data split here is a list, but what is the data type for the first element. You can put here the first index that by using a square bracket. Okay, and you can see that, oh, this one is string. Okay, this one is string. Oh, we want to make it like more meaningful. Like this one. First element. Okay, like this one. Okay, the first element is class is string. Pen is a string. What about the second element? You can just copy this line or line number 11, put here and change the indexing to the second one. Okay, and I want to try to this one again. And click one and run the program. Okay, as you can see from the output that I got here, okay, line 11 is this one. Okay, line 12 is this one, and line 13 is this one. All the elements in this array, okay, in this list is still a string. Okay, it's a string. If you want to do some kind of calculation, let's say the second elements multiplied by the third element, you got some errors here because string and also string, you cannot do some calculations, okay, especially for the multiplication. So otherwise you get some what you call the logical error. You don't get the syntax error, but you still you still can run the program as well. Okay, so the thing is that if you want to make sure that this one will convert into the specific data type, you need to convert either integer or the float, or using eval functions. Okay, eval functions straight away. If you don't know that, I don't want to bother regarding is it integer or float, but I want to make sure that Python want to detect it straight away. Yeah, straight away. Okay, so how we can change this one into the what do you call it, specific data type here, right? And okay, let's say you want to do some calculations. You want to calculate total sales, meaning that from index at the split. Okay, data split index 1 multiplied by data split index 2. Okay, I create a new total sales equal to data split and then index number 1 multiple data split index number 2 here. All right. Can someone tell me that can we do this calculation straight away like this one? Okay. You can see that this one you get some errors, right? One errors. So trace most recent call last year total sales straight away. There is some errors in this line, okay, which means the line in left 18. It's saying that cannot multiply sequence of non-integer of string type string. So if you still remember the previous one, okay, this one is string, this one is string. So you cannot multiply string by string. But what we can do is that we can convert the string, okay, the string that we can look at this one as a numerical into the specific data type. Okay, so you can use an integer here, okay, right, straight away. And this one is a float because the data in this one is the price. Of course, it's float, but the quantity we don't have any float. All right, it's straight away by using the integer. Okay, and print out the output as total sales. We try to see the output, and you got here 15.0. So you want to make it like a more proper way, like this one. And okay, 15.0, right? Because we already converted this data split index number 1, index number index 1 become integer, and index 2 become the float, right? So now you can do the calculations right away. And this total sales is already converted into the specific data type according to the value that being calculated in the code here. 15.0 is a float. So if you want to make sure that what is the data type for total sales, you can use this technique again, and then you type total sales and the program, and you can say, oh, it's a float. Okay, so that's why you can do the calculation again. Maybe you want to calculate total grain sale for all the items inside the text file, right? Okay, so these are the things here. Okay, I want to stop for a while. If you have any question, just let me know. Okay, no question?
No, sir.
So far, okay?
Doctor,
Okay.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, we can say that combination of strings cannot be taken part in a calculation, right?
Yes, yes. If you want to do some, let's say, example, total sales, this one is very straightforward. And the first one is string, and then you want to do as a string here, it can be done. But the thing is that you're not doing the calculation, but you are combining string together to the string. Let's say the first one here is 10, a string of 10, and then you combine it into the string of 2. What is the output for total sales here? Is it 12?
102, right?
Yes, it's what we become 102 because you are combining string to the string. You cannot do the calculation, specific calculation inside here. That's why you need to convert into the specific data type. Either you want to use integer, this one, okay, or this one, let's change 10.5, okay, this one, float, okay, and then total sales here is will be converted directly into a specific data type because the output will become float. Okay, the output will become, so it will be become 11.5. 11.5 is a float, right? Okay, but if the output is some kind of the 12, 20, total sales here is straightforward, has become integer value. Okay, so they're very important that you, if you don't remember or you don't want to bother regarding integer or float, here you can put here eval. And this one is also evals. So the Python will detect 1.5 here as a float, and here become as an integer as well. Okay, you don't need to bother regarding either integer or the float. But the things that you must know about integer and also the float as well. But because there are certain cases that you need to straight away specific data type without by using the eval, right? Okay, clear regarding this one?
Yes, okay.
Okay, so I want to continue for the last one here. Is very interesting. Imagine that I have a data, okay, from the text file. My name of the text file is humidity.txt, and I collect this data from the daily from, let's say, from Malaysia. I don't think it's from Malaysia because it consists of the temperature is 42. Malaysian temperature is not 42. Let's say this one is African. It's African. Day one, 2015 March of the 1st March. Okay, the maximum temperature is 42. Okay, the minimum temperature is 18. We have an average of temperature is become 30.0, and this one, okay, this one is the average temperature, what we call departure. Departure meaning that how fast from the maximum value to the lowest value, minimum value, says it become negative 4.5. Maybe they count it per hour. Maybe they count it per hour until the minimum value of the temperature here. All right. So no need to bother regarding how they get negative 4.1, negative 3.0, and negative 6.9 here, because we want to make sure that we want to know how we can access and we do some calculation from the second element and the third element here, and then we get the output of average. If you count by using your own calculator, 42 plus 18 here is equal to 60. And you divide it by 2 is equal to the average of two temperature from the minimum and also the maximum, right? Okay. So I have a sample of code that represent that one. All right. Okay. This is it. Okay. Since these samples require to understanding of how you can read the data from the text file. Okay. If you remember that reading the data from the text file, you are reading the whole thing line by line here is become as a string. Okay. This is string number 1, string number 1, string number 2, and also string number 3. And I want to make sure that since we have a standard format for the data by using the delimiter of comma here. So we can use dot split functions in order to make sure that it will become an individual element of an array. Okay, similar like before, it will have something this one. It will split by columns. Okay, date, maximum temperature, minimum temperature, average temperature, and the last one data is average temperature departure. Okay, so I want to make sure that you understand regarding this code so as well. Okay, so before that, create a new one. Okay, because I want to make sure that from line to line understanding. So array read from txt and then the split data to become as a list, right? Okay, enter. Because I want to keep this one for the instruction for this sample. Okay, so we have a humidity.txt in the current folder. If you can see from the left side of my platform here, there is a humidity.txt, and then I have my own file, the current file, array read from txt split.list is this one. So make sure that the current folder, the file that you want to read in the current folder. Okay, if you still remember how you can read the data from the text file, is starting from you need to open the file and then you can read, or you want to write the file, and then the last one you need to close the file. Okay, so this is the standard way in order to open and also close the file. Okay, like this one. So in order to open, you're gonna straight away open. Okay, since I'm using the Python here is the other the editor for the Python. It will suggest you the some kind of this one, a dialog box here, the file name. Okay, my file name here is humidity.txt. So this Python automatically will detect what kind of the file that you have in the current folder. txt, and then comma here, if you still remember, you need to make sure that this one is suggest you what kind of the mode that you want to do. You want to read only, write only, or you want to append it to the text file. Okay, but right now I want to leave it like a standard one, read only. So instead it will become mode is, or you can put it the mode equal to read. Okay, right? Okay, so since we are reading the text file here, we need to have one object that will hold all the elements inside, or we can say that all data will be put in the memory. Right now, it's not being put in the memory, but this one will currently inside the text file. We want to make sure that all this one will be dumped into the computer memory. That's why we need to declare a new variables. Okay, let's say my variables here is file that consists of all data inside here. Okay, so assume that I want to put it inside a box inside this one. Okay, so We run the program to make sure that, okay, it doesn't have any errors, so we can proceed. Okay, we can proceed. So how we can read line by line here? By using the for loop. That's why for is very important in the text file reading. Okay, for let me I want to make sure the line, because I want to read it line here, line by line. So I want in what? In file, in my file. Okay, what are the things that is in my file? Is all the things here. Other one, by using for, I want to read one by one. Okay, one by one here. Okay, so since I want to read one by one here, I want to print out all the lines that I have here. Okay, I want to make sure that you understand. It will happen. It's look like this one. This line number 1, line number 2, and number 3. The same thing that we have inside the text file. Okay, straight away like this one. But if you want to do some calculations that consists of element number 2 and also element number 3 here, which is numbers, and then you want to get some average for it, you need to split the string here. Okay, the string, because line here represents a string. If you want to make sure that what is the type of the line here, straight away type line. You will see that line variable here indicate as a single string. What the meaning of single string is this one, Copy this one. Okay. Single string is this one. This one, okay, close at the end of the last data. Okay, this is one string. If you still remember, you can split by using the split functions. The delimiter is comma. Okay, right. And I want to name this one like line dot split. The line dot split. Okay, by using which delimiter? Semicolon. Okay, semicolon, because this one is semicolon like this one. Okay, and then you need to make sure that whenever you do some split here, okay, you want to place or you want to store after the split functions into the variable name. Let's say I want to make it like columns. Columns is like a columns lah, because I want to make sure like this one is column 1, column 2, 3, 4, 5, straight away like that. Okay, so I then want to access columns index 1, columns index 2, and so on. Okay, right. So we run the program. Okay, doesn't have anything here. I want to comment this one. Run the program, doesn't have anything because you don't have any printout here. So if you want to print the output of columns here right straight away, run the program, you can see that the square bracket before and after of the last data. But inside of the elements here, okay, is individual. 8 is individual, 42 is individual, 18 is individual, 30.0 is individual, and negative 4.1 is individual as well. But if you notice, each of these elements that their types are string. Okay, if you want to do some calculations, what you need to do? You need to convert it. Okay, you don't need to convert the dates here, because normally we don't do some calculation for the dates. Okay, but we want to do calculation for the numerical value that are more interesting part here. Maximum temperature and also minimum temperature in order to get the average temperature. Okay, if you don't want to display it, that's why I said I frequently use the print in order to display what is the output here and so on. And maybe you want to make it like you want to know column ni apa sebenarnya? What is a column actually? The type of column. You run the program. It's a list actually. It's a list. Okay, it's a list. So it means that you can use indexing. As I want to access index 1. You can see that it's a string. Index 1 is 42. But how we can do some calculations? 42 plus 18, it will become a string 42 plus string 18. If it become string of 4218, it's not going to become 60. So here is, you can do some kind of the conversion, okay, conversion straight away in the calculation. And let's say I want to do average temperature. How you do the average temperature is maximum temperature plus plus minimum temperature, which is this is the second element. The third element is this one. So you can use at least one columns. Okay, index 1 plus columns index 2 that represent 42 and so 18. Since this one is a string, okay, of course you need to do some conversion. Maybe want to do integer, or you want to use eval straight away. Eval, and then also this one is eval. Okay, right, and divided by 2. So carefully, the numbers of parentheses here must be even. Okay, good enough. And you run the program, you can see that is there any output? No. Okay, and then you can use a print output. Average temperature is KV changing temperature. Run the program again. So you can see that average temperature is 30.0, 31.5, 28.0. So in this example, we just to access the only two elements, which is on the second element and also the third elements only. Okay. But if you want to compare regarding the third element here is average 30, 31.5, and 20. Yes, so meaning that we do the correct calculation for this one. Right? Okay. So since we are opening the file here, don't forget to have file.close straight away, because if you do some opening the file, you cannot open the file because it's currently being used by the Python for the reading. All right. Okay. So hopefully you understand regarding this one, and I will share to you this code for your reference. And there is one example. Instead of by using the file here, open and also close it straight away, we have one very simple way that indicates without any closing the file. Okay, by using the with functions, by opening the function, okay, and then you will have a block of functions operation inside here. No need to have the fclose function straight away like the previous one that we learned. All right, so this one I will share to you also for your sprint letter.